Welcome to episode 16 of the Credit Card BS podcast. My name is Sean. I'm the UC Berkeley student that created and taught the university-sponsored course on credit card rewards. I'm coming at you today from Waldorf Astoria, Los Cabos, a beautiful, beautiful resort that you're able to book with Hilton free night certificates. I'm here with my co-host, Sherwin.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sherwin. I'm a Stanford student who's really into the credit card, travel, and points and miles hobby. I'm coming to you from Taiwan today, actually. Um, and the reason that this podcast is called the Credit Card BS podcast, for all of you who know, is because those initials are the schools Sean and I attend, respectively, Berkeley and Stanford. But as normal, we've put aside our differences today to talk about credit card and travel hacks. Today's episode, Mexico travel vacation destination hacks.
Yes, so obviously we're doing that because I'm here today at Waldorf Astoria Cabo. So we thought it was fitting to discuss the very best ways that you can have a trip to Mexico for an as high level of luxury as possible. Now, there's many, many parts to Mexico. There's a lot of beautiful parts of the country, but we're really going to be focusing on the main tourist destinations, so Cabo, Cancun, etc. I'm not saying there's not other places you can go with your points, but these are just the most popular places that people like to go with their points, so I think it's just the easiest to discuss today. So, yeah, Sharon, do you want to start talking about like why points are uniquely good to use in Mexico?
Certainly. So in Mexico, there are a lot of all-inclusive properties. So if you're able to redeem, the number of points, not only does that include your lodging and your accommodations, but also your food. I would also add that generally speaking, the number of points required to book something in Mexico would be lower than it would if you're redeeming for something at a similar luxury level in the US. What do you think, Sean?
I agree, and I think another point as well is that the taxes on hotels in Mexico is rather high. So usually at these properties, you'll be seeing taxes if you're booking with cash of like 30% or more, which is pretty insane to me. I mean, that's a really expensive level of tax. I mean, if you're paying $1,000 a night, you're adding, $300 a night to your bill. But again, on points, we don't pay any of those, right? If anything, the most you'd be paying is a resort fee, and that's only if you're booking with programs like Marriott. So it's really, really powerful to redeem your points here because, a lot of people, when they're calculating the value from their points, like, oh, what's my cent per point and stuff, they're just looking at the base rate. But, in Mexico, I think it makes sense to factor in the taxes a bit because they're so high that if you're going to be paying cash, it's really expensive. So I think that's
Yeah.
why it's a really, really valuable place to redeem your points.
Yeah, I completely agree. I always factor in taxes, fees, resort fees when I'm calculating cents per point, because that helps me distinguish between which programs, include that if you're redeeming points or free night certificates, which ones don't. So, without further ado, I think we should start with lodging accommodations. Why don't we start with Los Cabos since that's where Sean is? So, Sean, why don't we talk about first, actually, the property you're at?
Yeah, so right now I'm staying at Waldorf Astoria, Los Cabos, Pedregal. This is an amazing hotel. This is one of the best points redemptions in the world and also in Mexico. So this is a Hilton property. It's redeemable for 120,000 Hilton Honors points per night, which is a pretty good deal in and of itself, given that the cash rates here are like $1,200, $1,600 a night before taxes. So it's a very expensive hotel. Like if you're paying cash here, it's absurdly, absurdly expensive. And so, getting more than 1 cent per point on a Hilton Honors point is impressive in and of itself. But of course, that's not how I'm staying here because I'm only here for 3 nights. So I'm not going to redeem Hilton points. I had 3 Hilton Honors free night certificates granted from the Hilton Honors Aspire card that I'm able to redeem here, right? So I have multiple Aspire cards, so it's not just one. So, I'm using 3 of those certificates to book this place. It's pretty easy to find award availability here if you're looking close in. So if you're booking like within a month out, you can pretty easily find a good chunk of nights that you're able to book. If you're trying to do it far out, like let's say you're trying to do 3-4 months out plus, really tough, really, really tough. I wouldn't recommend trying to do this if you're doing it like 3-4 months out unless there's an award dump. Usually you're going to want to be looking like a month out or so. Pretty easy to secure. Just call up Hilton real quick, book for the nights. And yeah, this is like really a gem of a property. This is a top tier redemption, on par with Conrad Bora Bora, Conrad Maldives, those type of hotels. it really is at that level. Like every single room here, as you can tell, has a private pool, which is awesome. Having a private pool is really really cool. We were upgraded because of Hilton Diamond status to a room with a much better view, and the hotel sold out because it's 4th of July weekend. So hotel's completely sold out, but they still upgraded us right before they sold out. Really generous of them to do so. This is my second time here as well. Absolutely love this place. Really really great hotel.
Yeah, so let's back up a little bit. You said you redeemed free night certificates for this hotel. So, as a reminder to everyone, check out our seventh episode of the podcast where we go into Hilton hacks in a little more detail. But the general idea is that Hilton free night certificates are so valuable because you can redeem that at pretty much any property as long as there's standard room availability. So, that includes even the most top end hotels like the Waldorf Astoria in Los Cabos. So, Sean, would you say this like how does this Waldorf Astoria compare to other Waldorf Astorias or other Hiltons you might have been
Yeah,
to?
very good question. So I've stayed at four Waldorf Astorias myself. So Beverly Hills, Monarch Beach, Dubai International Financial Center, and then this one. No question, this is the best one of them. Absolutely, like not even a debate. Monarch Beach is the worst. Still a nice hotel, but definitely the worst of those four. Beverly Hills is very, very nice, but that's a city hotel, right? I mean, I'm not a city hotel guy really, so having a big, massive, sprawling resort is amazing. And like, yes, Monarch Beach is also a resort, not even on the same level, not even close. I mean, every single room here has a private pool. How do you compare to that? Basically every room or most of the rooms have a very good ocean view. It's kind of tough to see on the camera, but this is a very good view. I mean, you can see the ocean a bit, but like it's much better when you're like standing up. So it's a
Yeah, so
wonderful
it
property.
sounds
It's
like
got amazing food.
it sounds like it's a no-brainer to redeem the certificates here, but would you personally redeem the 120,000 Hilton Honors points to stay there?
That's a good question. That's tricky to be honest. If I'm staying for 5 nights, sure. If I'm doing fifth, because you get fifth night free, remember, with Hilton Ardos points, assuming you have any level of status. So if I'm redeeming points here for 5 nights, that's fine. I'll do that. Otherwise, just get more certs. Honestly, like, just get more certificates. If you really don't have any and it's your only option, it's fine. Remember, you can buy points at half a cent a piece on sale. So without fifth night free, that's $600 a night here. Very good deal. That's like, less than half the cost, even just that. But if you're doing it with fifth night free, it's only 480 a night effectively, which is really, really a competitive deal compared with like any other hotel in Cabo. Like most of the high-end hotels, you're paying well, well above that.
Yeah, I want to echo what Sean said. There's really no reason why you should be paying cash, assuming you can find standard room availability here because you can always buy Hilton Honors points when they're on sale at half a cent per point each. And, if you buy 120,000 points, that's only $600. That's less than half of what it would cost to stay there if you add in all the taxes and fees, which remember you don't have to pay when you're redeeming points.
That's a very good point. And remember, because this is a Hilton Honors property, there's no resort fee either. So it's you're not paying anything here. You can
Yeah.
show up and not pay anything for the room. It's just really food or any like activities and stuff you'd have to pay for. And also you can use the resort credit on the Aspire card here, which is what I'm doing. So out of my pocket, in a sense, nothing's coming out of my pocket for this trip. Yes, I like paid for the annual fee for the card and all that, but additional to that, nothing's going to come out of my pocket. I have so much resort credit, I can just buy whatever I want here. I can eat whatever I want. It's really, really nice. Makes a much more relaxing vacation.
Oh, that's really awesome and a really good tip to use the Aspire credit. Um, eh, Before we move on, I just want to ask, like, you told us that you got upgraded, but can you tell us a little more about like how you feel about the elite status recognition at this property compared to other Hilton properties or other programs?
Very good question. So overall, I'd say the elite status recognition is good. So yes, like last time I was here, they upgraded me. This time they upgraded me, and I didn't really have any issues of like them kind of playing games with it or saying no, it wasn't available. Right? This was the highest realistic category I could have been upgraded to because the next category up was like the presidential suite or the three-bedroom house that was available this week. So very good, happy upgrade this time. Last time also very good upgrade. I will say the only thing I think they're a little stingy on is the breakfast benefit. So Hilton doesn't technically it only technically gives you continental, and that's what they do here. So two people get continental breakfast for free, but like they try to get you to upgrade to the buffet for $10, which I think is worth it and it's what I do. But you're staying at a property that like after taxes like $2,000 a night. I feel like they could just give you the buffet, like instead of trying to get an upgrade. That's just me. I would be nice. And then also we have a third person here with us, and they are strict on enforcing they're not comping the breakfast for the third person. So we do have to pay for that. We're just all splitting it. But I compared to something like Hyatt, if I show up to a Hyatt hotel, I don't think it would be an issue normally, except at the Thompson Cabo, which we'll talk about in a second. But you know, overall, pretty good recognition. I think, yeah, I can't really complain.
Okay, that sounds good. I think we should move on to other properties in Cabo. So um, we should talk about the Thompson, the Cape, which Sean, I believe you've stayed at.
Yes, so I have stayed at the Thompson the Cape before. It is now a Category 7 property. I stayed when it was Category 6, meaning if you're booking with Hyatt, it's going to be 30,000 World of Hyatt points per night. The cash rates here are also very, very high. 500 on the very low end for a base room, up to like 800, 900, 1,000 base rate on the high end. It really just depends at this hotel. Now, it's a different type of hotel than the Waldorf. So these are both luxury 5-star properties. The Waldorf is more of a sprawling, traditional luxury resort. Okay, it's more of like that very, very classy kind of old money feel. Now, I love it. I love the decor here. I love the design. Much more sprawling. This is the one I prefer personally. But the Cape is also great because it's a modern luxury hotel. It's much more modern. Like a younger crowd, that type of thing. It's not as sprawling, so like there's not like these kind of villa styles almost. It's in a tower, but the views are phenomenal from that hotel. My God, basically every room has an unobstructed ocean view. Like even the base room does. So it's a really cool property for that. Like the waves are so loud in a good way. You can hear it at night. Beautiful property, and it's pretty easy to get availability there. To be honest, if you're booking in advance, it's like not that tough to find award space. So that's what's really nice about it. And the food is also a highlight of that hotel. The best food I've had in Cabo so far, for sure. And I liked it. I will say, like, in terms of the elite recognition, again, I always bring this up. The waiter yelled at me once for accidentally getting some avocado toast, but then I think that was just a bad example. I think everyone else there was very friendly. So, it's a great property. I would redeem my Hyatt points there. Beautiful hotel. Have you heard about the Cape before? You're staying there, right? You have.
Yes, yes, assuming things don't change, I did book it like before the devaluation, so I locked in the rate at when it was category 6, I believe, and I'm going December, so I'm really excited to check it out. I have been to other Thompson properties though, but they were like more city hotels, but I would generally agree that it's more of a younger crowd vibe. It's more like new sort of luxury in terms of the design, the decor, and the general vibe. So as a reminder, so this you can book this using World of Hyatt points. Right now, it costs 30,000 generally, but it can range from 25,000 when it's off peak to 35,000 when it's on peak. If I remember correctly, is that right, Sean?
Yeah, 35,000 peak. That's correct. It used to be Category 6, which was an amazing deal, and it's still a great deal at Category 7. It still is a very, very good redemption value. It is a full 5-star hotel, so I think it's no question, no issues redeeming it. Did you also want to talk about the Ziva Cabo? So the Ziva Cabo is Hyatt's all-inclusive offering, which unfortunately now goes for 30,000 points per night, which I think is a bit steep in my view, given that the Cape is also 30,000. Now the Cape isn't all-inclusive, but the Ziva is. Have you heard about the Ziva? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I also booked this for December when it was just 20,000 points a night, which is like an insanely good deal considering that it's all inclusive for 2 people. Um, Now that it's 30,000, it's a bit more of a question. But if you look at the cents per point value, it's still really up there given how expensive these all inclusive resorts are now. Um, so, I mean, I'd have to give you my review after I stay later this year. But from what I see online, it's generally pretty good. The food can be hit or miss from what I've read. But again, I don't have firsthand experience yet. But, for an all inclusive property, 30,000 points is still like fairly reasonable considering that like you're not paying anything for food and beverage.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. That is one thing people have to consider. Like the all-inclusive aspect is really, really nice. Just do some research on the type of food that you want, and 'cause the quality varies heavily across these resorts. It's not consistent of food quality, between the brands or whatever. I think one
Yeah.
thing I also want to talk about is, let's say you're getting into Cabo really late. Okay, let's say you're getting there like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. You don't want to pay for a night at the Cape or the Waldorf Astoria. That's stupid. That's silly. Why am I gonna burn a cert if I'm getting here at 8 o'clock? All I'm gonna do is go to bed and wake up. Okay. So my advice is, if you're getting in really late, book a staging hotel. Okay, staging hotel is basically exactly as I described. You're getting somewhere really late. You don't want to waste your money or your points paying for the expensive hotel. So stay somewhere really cheap, go to bed, wake up, get there super early to your really nice hotel. So a really good one for that is the Hyatt Place in Cabo. That's, I believe it's still only a category 1, meaning I believe it's right. Am I correct on that?
Yes, I did just check. So it's literally only costs 5,000 points or 3,500 off peak or 6,500 on peak. That's really, really cheap.
Yeah, that's an amazing deal because you're paying like basically no points. You're paying 1/6 of the price for the Cape, and if you're getting there like at 8 at night, just go to bed. Just go to bed, sleep, get up, go to your hotel. Like, don't waste all those points on a night you're not going to use. It just seems silly to me, unless for some reason you have some reason to get to these fancy hotels or you have like unlimited points. Just book a
Yeah, and I
staging
mean,
hotel.
even with only 5,000 points, you're still earning that elite night credit, assuming you're going after Hyatt status. So that's really nice.
That's a very good point. It's really nice to have that elite night credit. Now you're not going to get any benefits really because it's the Hyatt Place, but at least it counts to your status. I think now we should move on to Cancun / Playa del Carmen because this is another very very popular touristy area, especially for those that are like on the East Coast because it's so much easier to get to than Cabo. Cabo's really more of a West Coast destination. Cancun, Playa del Carmen is more of like an East Coast central destination just because it's really really close. So I first want to talk about, for Playa del Carmen specifically, another really good staging hotel in terms of you're getting there. This is what I used. I stayed at this hotel personally. You're getting there really late and you don't want to pay for an expensive hotel. The Thompson Playa del Carmen main house, I think, is a really good staging hotel. It's not good on points. Okay, it's a category 3. It's 12,000 points a night. Not worth it. Okay. But the base rate, if you book in advance, is like $150 a night. And it's a nice hotel. It's a legitimately nice hotel. I've stayed there. It's Thompson typical design. The rooms are very nice. It's very comfortable. It's a quote unquote 5-star hotel in the sense that like the furnishings are nice. It's a luxurious hotel. It's not like a true 5-star like this or anything like that, but it's a very comfortable hotel. You get breakfast comped if you're a globalist. They have a really nice rooftop pool, like a beautiful rooftop pool, and it's a really cheap and nice hotel as a staging hotel, especially if you're staying in the Playa del Carmen area. So if you booked Secrets Impression Moshe, for example, that's where I was staying, right nearby, 10 minutes drive or something like that. So really good staging hotel.
Yeah, I would actually recommend everyone who's interested in this hotel, regardless of whether you have Hyatt status, to look into booking it with Hyatt Privé. So that's a kind of sort of portal system where you have to go through a travel agent, but if you book through it, you get free breakfast, you get like a guaranteed upgrade at the time of booking if there's availability, you get uh, some number of dollars of property credit. I think it's 100, but it can depend on property. And usually it's like a standard rate, so it's a little more expensive than the member rate. But if you add up all those perks, it can be really worth it. Also, I have seen Hyatt Privé offer like third night free or fourth night free on this particular property. So if you're looking to stay a bit longer, that could be substantial savings and a really good discount and really good perks.
That's a very good point. Yeah, previous always thing you should look into. You're just gonna be paying the standard right there. So if there's not much of a difference, yeah, definitely go through Privé. It's always nice to get those perks. I mean, it's treated as like a top tier rate. So a globalist staying on a Privé reservation has like the highest priority. And
Yeah.
so yeah, and so that's a really good staging hotel. Now, unfortunately for the other hotels in Cancun, Playa del Carmen, it's the redemption values aren't going to be as much there. So unfortunately, during points again, or the points apocalypse, basically, a couple months ago, Hyatt completely devalued their all-inclusive resorts. So some really good ones that are there were like Ziva and Zilara Cancun. Those used to be like 25,000 a night. Now they're 40,000 a night, which is still a good value. I mean, that's still a solid value for what you're getting. Those are all inclusive properties. They're very nice properties. The cash rates are very expensive, absurdly expensive. But it's not what it used to be. It's not as good of a deal, for example, as like some of the ones in Cabo. But 40,000 a night is still, if you really want to go to Mexico and that's like a really convenient destination for you, and you want something that's like very different than what you're normally used to, I think that makes sense. On the ultra luxury side, on the like top tier side, Sherman, do you want to talk about those? There's two really like high tier
Yes,
places.
actually, before I get to that, I want to emphasize when you book an all inclusive using Hyatt points, that usually includes for that's includes for two people, food and beverage and the accommodation. So if you want to add a third person, you're actually going to have to pay another half of that cost. So if it was 40,000 points, you're going to have to pay 60,000 for a third person. And considering that you don't get an extra room, I kind of feel like it's not as worth it. You might as well find a fourth person and book another room. What do you think, Sean?
100%. Yeah, if you're paying 50% of the cost just to cram someone else in your room, just find another person, pay another 50% on top of that, get two rooms. Like that makes so much more sense than paying for the, yeah, 100% agree there. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So anyway, back to what we were saying. So there are another set of all-inclusive properties under Hyatt called Secrets Impression. So there's one called Moshe and there's one called Isla Mujeres. And they both cost 50,000 points. So that, I mean, in the Hyatt world, that's a lot of points. I mean, that's more than Category 8 hotel, right?
Yeah, it's very expensive. Now, Secrets Impression Moshe used to be only 25,000 a night, which is what I booked it at. Worth it at 25,000, 100%. I won't touch it for 50,000. I'm not looking its way for 50,000 points. That's absurd. Now, there's the other one, the other Secrets Impression, Isla Mujeres is how it's pronounced.
Something like, or yeah, maybe.
Yeah, okay, so that one's also 50,000 a night. Now that's a brand new property as well. And I've heard I spoke with someone in our Discord server the other day. By the way, link in the description. Check out the Travel Lane Discord group. And he was saying that he's really excited about that property because, yes, it's 50,000 points a night, but it's built from the ground up to be impressions only. It's only like 50, 60 rooms or something. I think. Don't quote me on that. That's what he was saying. But it's supposed to be like really nice. It's not even like it's on an island off the coast of like Cancun, so it feels like more exclusive, and so he's excited for that property. I can't comment on it, but again, 50,000 points either way is absurd. It is really expensive. That could go to a lot of other redemptions.
Yeah. But what did you? I mean, you've stayed at a secrets hotel. Like, how does that experience compare to other either all inclusives or other resorts you've stayed at in Mexico and elsewhere?
That's a very good question. So I've only stayed at two all-inclusives, okay, and so it's a bit of an unfair comparison because the first one was a Lila Ventana Big Sur, so it doesn't matter what the second one's gonna be; they're gonna lose to a Lila Ventana. So it was good though. I will say it was good. The food was good. You know what it is? It's a good hotel. It's a good hotel with good food, good service, good rooms, good pools. Is it a great hotel? Is it spectacular? No. I couldn't really call it spectacular. I think it was a spectacular redemption for 25,000 points. 50,000 points, I'm going back to Ventana. I'm going to the Maldives. I'm going to Andaz Maui. I'm going to Kalala Island. I'm picking so many other places first. Now, of course, for me, I have like flexibility to go to all these places. So for a lot of people, though, like if you're based in like Texas or like Florida, or you're based in the East Coast, Cancun, Playa del Carmen, so close. It's just a couple hour flight. So that's really easy. But like, going to the Maldives or something, or going to Hawaii from there is a huge hassle. But so you're paying for convenience in that sense. But for me personally, I loved it. It was a good experience, but not worth 50,000 points, even close.
Okay, that's fair. I guess we should move on to our last destination we wanted to talk about. This one I don't know that much about. So, Sean, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, so this is Puerto Vallarta. Now, I haven't been to this destination myself. I have looked at the portfolio of properties here, and I will say, this is more of like a Marriott redemptions oriented one. So if a Marriott fanboy or something, this could be a good place to redeem points. The redemption values are pretty solid here, I would say. So for the main hotel or the most luxury hotel, the St. Regis Punta Mita, that one's supposed to be really, really high end from what I've heard. It's a really nice St. Regis resort. And St. Regis's resorts are always going to be high end as a general rule. They're basically they're on the tier of Waldorf Astoria. So that one ranges between like 85,000 to 110,000 Marriott points per night, which is nice because you can top off your 85K certificate to stay there depending on the date. And the cash rates are like 1,000, 1,200 a night. It ranges, but it's very expensive. So you're getting a solid 1 cent per point out of your Marriott points, which is good enough to qualify as a decent redemption value. It's a property I've wanted to check out myself. I haven't had the chance yet, but I'd love to. The other one in the area, this is a lower end hotel, not lower end I should say, but like lower relative to St. Regis hotel, is the W Punta de Mita. So that one, it's about 55-ish thousand Marriott points per night. Again, Marriott's on dynamic pricing, so it could change at any time. It depends on the season. It depends on, when you're booking it and all that. The cash rates are about 470 a night, 500 a night, maybe a little more. And so that's also about a solid 1 cent per point, especially if you're factoring in with Marriott. Remember, you get fifth night free. And so it's like a 20% off, boost if you're staying 5 nights or longer. So I think that's also a pretty good redemption. Now, it's not going to be on the same Regis level, of course, but it's still a good redemption. Now, for the Hyatt fans out there, don't worry. We still have a Hyatt option for that. There's always going to be a Hyatt option when it comes to points redemption. So, Sherwin, do you want to talk about our Hyatt option there?
Sure. So there is a Ziva Puerto Vallarta, and it is all inclusive, and it costs 25,000 points. I think 21,000 off peak, 29,000 on peak. So I think it's actually a pretty good deal. From what I've seen online, it's a very nice property, especially when it's all inclusive. And I think 25,000 points is pretty reasonable compared to the other Cabo and the the Cancun options that have just really gone up a lot in price. So this is the
Do you know what
one of
the
the few.
approximate cash rate is?
I do not, but I'm I'm almost certain that this is at least, if not more than 2 cents per point. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, if you like all inclusive, if you only have two people, I would check out this Eva property, and it's just a good use of Hyatt points.
Okay, so now I think we should move on to the flights portion of this video. So, with how we're going to redeem points to fly to Mexico for reduced costs. Now, one thing to note about any points redemptions that we're really going to be doing here to Mexico is that because this is an international flight, we're going to be subject to higher taxes and fees, which isn't the best. So, like, even if there's a really good points rate, that requires very few points, you still have to pay. It's like 50, $60 leaving the US, and then like 80, 90, $100 leaving Mexico. Now that's just for Cabo. It depends on, of course, the airport that you're flying out of or whatever. But the short story is you have to pay higher taxes. So just be aware of that, because that's going to hurt our points redemption values here, because it's not like the hotels where you don't pay the taxes. You do pay the taxes on the flights. So that's going to be an issue. Now, so one option that's probably one of the easiest ways to do it, in the sense of like the easiest points to earn for a lot of people, is going to be booking American Airlines flights with British Airways Avios or other One World partners. So as a reference for this, you can fly from LAX to Cabo for 9,000 points each way in economy. And remember, they have, Avios are very easy to earn. So like they transfer from American Express, Chase, I'm pretty sure Capital One and City as well. Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
City transferred to Qatar Airways Privilege Club, but those also are obvious that can be easily converted to British Airways.
Oh yeah, so you still earn the same currency effectively, and they have transfer bonuses all the time. Like Amex, at time of recording, is having a 30% transfer bonus to British Airways Avios, so that's a really nice way to get even more value for your points. But of course, you have to pay the taxes. So like this was something when I was planning this Cabo trip. Okay, this was a last minute trip. It's like ultra last minute, like 4 days out. We just wanted to go somewhere. I'm like, oh hell yeah, the Waldorf opened up. Let's book that. And then I'm like, crap, the flights are all really expensive. And so I was considering this. I was considering booking like this, but I'm like, wait a second. A United one-way flight from LA to Cabo was like 150 in normal economy. But yes, like I could have gotten availability for this. I think one of the days I could have gotten availability for the American Airlines. But it's like 9,000 points. There wasn't the transfer bonus at the time. There was 9,000 points and like $50 in taxes. That I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like I 1 cent per point from Amex points, no way. I just have to suck it up and pay cash. So like, that's the thing, is it's like, unless the flights are really expensive. Like at that time, like I got it lucky because it wasn't that bad for the one way, like getting here. But unless it's really expensive, it might not make sense. Like if you have a transfer bonus, maybe. But that's just one thing to consider. Have you booked American Airlines with One World Partners before?
I have not, but from what I've seen, like they can be a really good deal because just because of how British Airways categorizes the different zones and regions in like the Americas. I do want to ask how's like the availability for finding American Saver Rewards on partner?
That's honestly a very good question. And to be completely honest, I'm not too sure. So like when I was trying to book this or like checking the award availability, it was like 4th of July week. So it's there was like nothing except there was like wide open space on 4th of July, funny enough. Probably because no one wants to fly on 4th of July, but I think it's I don't think it would be like that different than finding like United Saver on certain routes and things like that. It seems to be pretty similar. Again, it's like any award availability is going to depend on your flexibility, and so it really depends. Now you can also do something like LAX to Cancun for 13,000 in economy. That's a much better deal, okay? Because Cancun's like a 5-hour flight almost, and it's going to be more expensive than a flight to Cabo. Again, check the award chart for your region. It really depends on where you're flying out of and where you're flying into, because like LAX is really close to Cabo, so it didn't really make sense for me. But if you're flying from like the East Coast, maybe the award from that area is going to be better. Now it depends, of course. The award chart's different on like distance bands and routings and all that, but just keep that in mind. It's really going to be situational.
Yeah, I would also look into using American Airlines miles for America itself. Now, it might not be as good because they have instituted dynamic pricing on their own metal, but sometimes they do run these sales. And I can't really speak to how often they do it for Mexico in particular, but they do run these sales where for like a very small number of miles, you can fly to destinations like Mexico. So definitely something to keep an eye out for.
Awesome, yeah. I think another really good redemption value potentially is, and we've talked about this so many times before, and be prepared, okay? It's not going to be easy, it's not going to be fun, but it's a good deal. It's what we do for the deal. So booking United Airlines flights with Turkish Airlines miles. So we talked about how you can do one-way economy within the United States for 7,500 miles one way. But did you know you can also do to Mexico for 10,000 miles each way in economy? Now, depending on your routing, that could be pretty good. If you're flying from LAX to Cancun, that could be pretty legit. For 10,000 one way, even with some taxes on that, you might be seeing $250, $300 one way in cash normally. So it might be a pretty easy way to get 2 cents in economy. The space seemed to be pretty easy to find, at least on that route. But again, boy, it's Turkish Airlines. Be prepared. Be prepared. You might have to call customer service. It's a whole process. You'll have to like be mentally strong to get through it and be prepared for some frustration. But good deal. Now you can also book
Yeah.
it in for 15,000 one way in business, which was much harder to find space, but still potentially doable. And that's also a very, very nice deal. It's going to be domestic business, so nothing that amazing, but 15,000 one way in business is pretty good. What are your thoughts on this? Like, is it worth the effort required?
I think I would go back to what I said in episode 13. By the way, go check that out when we talked about traveling to Hawaii and using Turkish miles. We went into it in a little more depth there. So I'd recommend going to check that out if you're interested in that redemption. But I think, again, it comes down to how much you value your time. If dealing with Turkish Airlines customer service wastes so much of your time that costs you productivity elsewhere, then it might not be worth it. But for like 10,000 miles, I think that's pretty worth it, unless you're already flying a very short route, like West Coast to West Coast. But it just depends. And sometimes it can be hard to find availability. Sometimes it's easy based on the dates you want to go. So that's another factor to think about.
Definitely, yeah. Like all these are basically going to be very, very situational. I think another one that is even like more situational is Southwest Companion Pass. This isn't something I would go and earn just for the sake of going to Mexico. It's more of a nice to have. So I'm utilizing this to go back to Southern California from Mexico. But so Southwest Companion Pass is essentially an unlimited, while you hold it, buy one, get one semi-free kind of pass where you buy one ticket at whatever the price is, whether it be points, cash, whatever, and you get to add on your companion, like a designated companion. You only can change them a limited number of times to the flight, and they only pay the taxes and fees. Now, within the United States, it's awesome. It's only $5.60 one way for that second passenger. To and from Mexico, though, taxes are much higher. So, like going back, it's like $88 to add my companion. Now, still very cheap. Very, very cheap. $88 flight is as cheap as you'll ever get, but it's not free. So that's something to consider, especially because like Southwest could have higher pricing than other carriers depending on when you're booking. So that's something to consider. Now, to earn a companion pass, it's 135,000 Southwest qualifying points. I believe you need to earn within the calendar year to get that. So the easiest way to do that is with the sign-up bonuses from the credit cards, because those qualify for companion pass bonuses. And if you're going to earn it, my advice is basically don't earn the bonus until the very, very beginning of the calendar year, because you earn companion pass for the whole calendar year in which you earn it, plus the next one. So if you earn at the beginning of the calendar year, that means you're basically getting it for 2 years. So like, do you think companion pass is worth it? Like in this case, because you're still paying this high taxes, it's not as good of a deal, but like, is it a viable option?
Um, I think like I wouldn't go out of my way to earn a Southwest Companion Pass just to go to Mexico a couple times. I think if you're already flying Southwest a lot or gonna fly domestically and use it, and you already have this perk like Sean, then yes, definitely take advantage if it makes sense. But like I probably wouldn't go out of my way to get companion pass. Like it's a pretty big number of points you need to qualify for that. I did want to add, so it is 135,000 to earn Southwest Companion Pass, but they've recently changed it where if you have any one of the credit cards, they automatically give you 10,000 Companion Pass points toward that. So you're really only needing to earn effectively 125,000.
That's a very good point. Yeah. So like, again, if you're earning it with the sign-up bonuses, which basically everyone is, like, who's gonna earn 135,000 Southwest points without the sign-up bonuses? But yeah, so it's really actually 125,000 because you have that waiver from the credit cards. Now, one final thing I wanted to talk about with the flight side is that the cash to Mexico honestly isn't that bad if you're booking in advance. Like if you're pretty flexible on your days, if you're looking far out, the cash prices for the flights can be pretty good. I remember, like, I think I booked a Southwest fare round trip 250 here before. Like, that's really competitive, on this, because you're paying these high tax on the points redemption side, because the cash prices are so cheap. It may make sense more just to pay cash. Honestly, that's like one of the few times I can say that, like, with pretty high level of confidence. Now, again, it depends on your airport. It depends on your routing. If you're flying out of some small regional airport where the flights are super expensive to anywhere, then points redemption is obviously could make more sense, because with the examples we gave above, like on the Turkish one, even if there's like a stopover or a layover, it's usually like included in the same award price. So if you have to do like a multi-stop itinerary, like a single stop itinerary, then potentially, it could be a better value. But like if you're flying out of a big hub like LAX, Houston, Miami, SFO, any of like those type of major airports, cash can be really reasonable. I don't see a problem with doing that, and that's what I did really. Coming here and then going back, I redeemed Southwest points, but that's a revenue-based program anyways. So I'm not really getting some outsized value from my Southwest points. I'm just, basically, it's still effectively paying cash to the same degree. So I would say consider paying cash, save your points for the hotels mainly, because the hotels here are really where you get the phenomenal, phenomenal value.
Yeah, I would agree. Google Flights is very useful for checking cash prices, except for Southwest. They don't show up there, so you do need to check that website. But yeah, I would agree. C- You know, always consider both cash and points options, and then always think about the trade-offs for your points. So, for example, like Sean said, if paying cash isn't too bad on airlines and it's hard to get outsized value, flying to Mexico, maybe save that for your hotels.
Definitely, I think that's very good advice. Yeah, it's really got to be smart in the points that you choose to redeem, and where you're using them. Don't get caught up in the I want to. So many people get caught up in the I want to travel for free, therefore I use my points mindset, and it's a problem to me because like it's never free. You're still paying a currency. So if you're not getting good value, you're just effectively paying more of that currency. Like you need to treat it as like an asset almost that you need to use wisely. So don't go redeem your points at 1 cent per piece on the Amex travel portal. That's stupid, to be honest. Like, I just save them. Like, it's not really worth it, really. So be smart in your points redemptions.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Okay, so I think we should wrap up for today's episode. So if you want to earn some of these points, please consider signing up for the credit cards. Links below in the description. Using them really helps us out. Also, we're trying to grow this channel. So if you enjoy today's content, want to see more, give this video a like and subscribe. It really helps out with the algorithm. And Sean, why don't you plug our Discord?
Definitely. So if you want to connect with an elite group of award travelers, people that are regularly going to hotels like this, flying Emirates first class, Lufthansa first class, those type of things, consider joining the 100% free Discord group at the link in the description. Literally free, not selling anything, just a place to connect with award travelers and learn more about the space. There's some really, really, really smart people in there, and we will alert you to amazing deals. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week.